Have you ever noticed repeating numbers like 1111 on a clock or the same numbers on a license plate? Actually, numbers are more than just tools for counting. This is the world of creative number manipulation, or CNM, a mix of math, creativity, and spirituality. CNM teaches us to look at numbers in a new way. Every number has its own personality and story. In this video, we'll learn the basic techniques of CNM, from digital roots to the secret of the number 19 in the Quran. Let's start this adventure and change how we see numbers, from boring to full of meaning. The basic technique of creative number manipulation is digital root, the DNA of a number. It's simple. Add all the digits of a number and keep doing it until you get a single digit. For example, 587, 5 plus 8 plus 7 equals 20, and then 2 plus 0 equals 2. So the digital root of 587 is 2. No matter how big the number is, the process is the same. The digital root shows us the basic nature of every number. All numbers eventually come back to one of 9 digits. It teaches us that, even with all the complexity, there's a unity that connects everything. With digital roots, we start to understand the secret language of numbers. The concept of digital roots has actually been around for a long time in human history. It's not just a modern invention or a simple math tool. Since ancient times, people have been drawn to the uniqueness of numbers and the hidden meanings behind them. Pythagoras, an ancient Greek philosopher and mathematician, believed that everything in the universe was numbers. Each number from 1 to 9 carried a deep spiritual meaning, not just symbols, but also keys to understanding the secrets of the universe. In Islamic tradition, the process of reducing numbers to a single digit, or a digital root, is similar to the concept of Tawhid, which is the oneness of God. It reminds us that behind the diversity and complexity of the world, there is one main source that unites everything. For example, the digital root of 1 represents oneness and the beginning of everything. It is a symbol of strength, firmness, and uniqueness, like the oneness of God, which is the foundation of all creation. Meanwhile, the number 5 represents balance and harmony, just like the 5 pillars of Islam that are the foundation of a Muslim's life. Each number carries its own message that can be used as a guide in daily life. Calculating digital roots isn't just a math activity, it can also be a form of remembrance, a spiritual exercise that reminds us of the greatness and majesty of God. Every time we calculate, we are actually reflecting on His creation. When we calculate the digital root of a birth date, a house number, or any important number in our lives, we are actually looking for a deeper meaning. It's an effort to understand our role in this vast world, and to seek guidance from the signs that have been created. Every number we encounter is a sign of the Creator's wisdom. From mathematical patterns in nature to sacred verses, everything reminds us that behind every number, there is a spiritual story waiting to be explored. Do you understand digital roots now? Now let's connect the original number with its digital root. For example, 25, its digital root is 7. Combine them and it becomes 257. This new number carries a combined meaning. Action, 25, guided by wisdom, 7. This technique is symbolic. Our lives become more meaningful when connected to a spiritual purpose. Try it with your own age, 34, digital root 7, so it becomes 347. What does it mean for age 34 to be guided by spirituality? CNM turns math into a form of meditation. Every number can be something to think about. Creativity and interpretations are wide open. The number 19 is very special in the Quran. It's clearly mentioned in Surah Al-Mudaththir, verse 30. Allah says, "Over it are 19. This isn't just an ordinary number, it's a secret code that holds various wisdoms and mathematical wonders hidden within this holy book. Scholars and researchers have long been fascinated by the uniqueness of this number, as it appears repeatedly in different forms throughout the Quran. Many mathematical patterns based on 19 have been found. For example, the total number of chapters in the Quran is 114, which is 19 times 6. Even the first verse of the Quran, Bismillah, has 19 letters. Every letter, verse, and chapter seems to be arranged in a very orderly pattern, as if a mathematical system controls the structure of the Quran. This proves that the Quran is not just spiritual reading, but also contains amazing logical and scientific dimensions. Ever wondered how to tell if a number is a multiple of 19? Well, there's a simple trick you can use to check for multiples of 19 without having to divide directly. This trick is super handy, especially if you love playing with numbers or want to test the mathematical uniqueness in the Quran. The method is quite simple. Take the last digit of the number, multiply it by 2, then add the result to the remaining digits in front. Repeat this step until you get a smaller number that's easy to identify. If the final result is a multiple of 19, then the original number is also a multiple of 19. This trick is not only practical but also fun to try with family or friends. For example, let's take the number 437. Take the last digit, which is 7, multiply it by 2 so you get 14, then add 14 to the remaining digits in front, which is 43. 43 plus 14 equals 57, and 57 is 19 times 3, so 437 is indeed a multiple of 19. Easy, right? This trick isn't just practical for checking numbers. It also opens our eyes to the hidden mathematical wonders in the Quran. It encourages us to think more deeply about Allah's wisdom in arranging His verses. Every time we find a multiple of 19 in the Quran, it's like a reminder of the greatness of God's creation. It proves that the Quran is not only beautiful in language but also full of amazing mathematical secrets. Playing with numbers not only sharpens the mind but can also increase our faith and awe towards the greatness of Allah. Every time you come across a multiple of 19, remember that this is one of the signs of the greatness and unparalleled uniqueness of the Quran. It invites us to continue exploring, learning, and appreciating the beauty of the knowledge contained within it. So keep playing with numbers, explore the mathematical wonders in the Quran, and let your faith grow every time you discover a new secret in this holy book. Let's start a fun and easy journey to sharpen our minds. Get a pen and paper ready. These exercises will not only help you think creatively, but also train your brain to be more focused and aware of what's around you. Take a moment to set up a comfy space so you can really enjoy this process. For the first exercise, try to find the digital root of your own birth date. Write down your birth date, then add all the digits one by one. If the result is more than one digit, repeat the process until you get just one digit. For example, if your birth date is December 8, 1995, add 1 plus 2 plus 0 plus 8 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 5. Keep going until you get a single number. This exercise trains you to see patterns and meaning behind everyday numbers. For the second exercise, take today's number, like the date or any number you find today. Find its digital root too, and connect the result with other related numbers. Think, what's the meaning behind the new number you got? Does it remind you of something or inspire your day? This exercise encourages you to think symbolically and creatively. For the third exercise, challenge yourself with a bigger number, for example 1197. Try to find its digital root and see how this process can be used for any number, no matter how big or small. Use the multiple of 19 technique, repeat the digit addition process until you get the final answer. This process not only tests your math skills, but also trains your patience and carefulness. Remember, these exercises aren't just for calculating or solving math problems. They are also mind and spiritual exercises helping you to know yourself better through numbers. Every number you find has its own story. You're free to interpret its meaning based on your own creativity and life experiences. Enjoy every step of this process and don't be afraid to imagine. With these exercises, you'll start to see numbers from a different perspective, not just as figures but as symbols and inspiration in daily life. Make every number an opportunity to learn something new about yourself and the world around you. Look at numbers with curiosity and openness. Ready to be a number detective? Good luck, and I hope you find something interesting in each exercise. Let's try out CNM with today's date, September 14, 2025, 14092025. Find the digital root, 1 plus 4 plus 0 plus 9 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equals sign 23, and then 2 plus 3 equals 5. Today is all about balance and change. Now connect the original number with its digital root, 14092025. This number is symbolic. Live your day with a sense of balance. Let's test the day and month combination, 1409. 9 times 2 equals 18, 140 plus 18 equals 158, 8 times 2 equals 16, 15 plus 16 equals 31. It's not a multiple of 19, but the process itself is fun. Not all numbers have a connection, and that's the beauty of CNM. Every day can become more meaningful when we look at the numbers around us. CNM can be used to think about the wonders of the Quran, for example, Surah Al-Fatiha. The first surah, number 1, a symbol of Tawheed, the oneness of God. 7 verses, the number 7 is very special in Islam, 7 heavens, tawaf, throwing stones at Jamarat. Combine 1 and 7 and you get 17, the total number of cycles in daily obligatory prayers. Find the digital root of 17 to 1 plus 7 equals 8. 8 is often linked to eternity. From the surah and verse numbers, we can think about the idea of Tawheed, perfection, and the ultimate goal of life. Numbers in the Quran are full of meaning if we look with our hearts. We've explored the world of CNM, from digital roots to the wonder of the number 19. Numbers aren't just symbols but a mirror of God's beauty and wisdom. CNM teaches us to find meaning behind the complexity and to see unity in diversity. The number patterns in the Quran aren't by chance. They are signs of a wise planner. Let CNM be a mind exercise and an intellectual remembrance. Every number is a chance to reflect on His creation. Keep exploring. Try CNM techniques on important numbers in your life. Hopefully, by seeing the beauty in numbers, our hearts will be more amazed by the Creator of all things. These chapters, though different, share themes of faith, truth, and divine guidance, showing how the Quran is connected and makes sense. The idea of the 7 Mathani isn't just about 7 short chapters, it's part of a bigger, more complex plan in the Quran. Their importance in daily prayers, along with their number patterns, shows how deeply connected the Quran is and how it was designed by God. Extra number patterns involving chapters 15, 87, and 3 further highlight the Quran's careful structure and connected themes. As we keep exploring in the next chapters, we'll uncover more of these hidden harmonies, making our understanding and appreciation of the Quran's timeless wisdom even deeper. This chapter now includes the extra number patterns you gave, adding another layer of depth to our look at the 7 Mathani and their connections. If you have any more ideas or changes, please let me know. Okay, let's move on to chapter 2 of your book, focusing on chapter 19, Maryam. This chapter will give a detailed look at this chapter, its importance, and its number patterns. Here's a draft for chapter 2. Chapter 2, Chapter 19, Maryam. Introduction. Chapter Maryam, the 19th chapter in the Quran, holds a special place in Islamic tradition. Named after Mary, the mother of Jesus, this chapter has 98 verses and talks about many themes, including stories of prophets, the importance of faith, and the miracles of God's help. In this chapter, we'll explore the importance of chapter Maryam, its number patterns, and its connections to other themes in the Quran. The importance of chapter Maryam's spiritual importance. Chapter Maryam is named after Mary, the mother of Jesus, and has several stories of prophets, including Zechariah, John the Baptist, and Jesus. This chapter stresses the importance of faith, patience, and the miraculous nature of God's help. It reminds us of God's power and mercy. Number patterns. The number 19 is important in numerology and is clearly seen in chapter Maryam. Let's look at some of the number patterns linked to this chapter. The number 19 in the Quran. The number 19 appears in many places in the Quran, often symbolizing perfection and God's order. For example, chapter Maryam itself has 98 verses. The word Quran is mentioned 19 times in the Quran. The Quran says there are 19 angels guarding hell, chapter Al-Mudaththir, verse 30. These examples show the importance of the number 19 in the Quran's structure and themes. Detailed exploration of main themes of chapter Maryam, the story of Mary. This chapter starts with Mary's story, showing her purity, faith, and the miraculous birth of Jesus. The story of Zechariah and John the Baptist. The chapter also talks about Zechariah's story and the birth of his son, John the Baptist, highlighting faith and God's help. The story of Abraham. The chapter includes Abraham's story, showing his faith and the miraculous birth of his son. Number patterns. Surah. Number Surah Maryam is the 19th surah in the Quran. Number of verses. Chapter Maryam has 98 verses. Importance of 19. The number 19 is important in numerology, often symbolizing perfection and God's order. The number 19 and its multiples. Let's look at these number connections. 19 times 5 equals 95, 19 times 6 equals 114, the total number of chapters in the Quran. These patterns show the importance of the number 19 in the Quran's structure. Thematic connections, munasaba, connections to other chapters. Chapter Maryam is connected to other chapters in the Quran through its themes and number patterns. For example, chapter 15, Al-Hijr. Both chapters talk about the importance of faith and God's help. Chapter 87, Al-Allah, Both chapters stress God's greatness and the importance of asking for His forgiveness. Munasaba, in chapter Maryam. The idea of munasaba, or thematic and structural connections, can be seen in where chapter Maryam is placed and what it contains. For example, the stories of prophets in chapter Maryam highlight the importance of faith and God's help, themes that are repeated in other chapters. The focus on purity and truth in chapter Maryam connects it to other chapters that talk about similar themes. Conclusion. Chapter Maryam, the 19th chapter in the Quran, is a deep chapter that talks about the stories of prophets, the importance of faith, and the miraculous nature of God's help. The number 19 has a lot of meaning in numerology, showing the Quran's careful structure and connected themes. As we keep exploring in the next chapters, we'll find more hidden harmonies and connections in the Quran. This chapter gives a detailed look at chapter Maryam, its importance, and its number patterns. It sets the stage for more exploration of the Quran's hidden harmonies in the next chapters. If you have any specific ideas or extra things you'd like to include, please let me know. Okay, let's move on to chapter 3, focusing on chapter 15 Al-Hijr and chapter 87 Al-Allah. This chapter will look into the number patterns and thematic connections between these two chapters, showing their importance in the Quran. Chapter 3, chapter 15 Al-Hijr, and chapter 87 Al-Allah. Introduction. The Quran is like a rich tapestry of connected themes and number patterns that show its divine design. In this chapter we'll explore the connections between chapter 15 Al-Hijr and chapter 87 Al-Allah. These chapters, though different in what they contain, share number and thematic patterns that highlight the Quran's coherence and unity. We'll look at their importance, number patterns, and thematic connections. Munasaba. Chapter 15, Al-Hijr. Overview. Chapter Al-Hijr, the 15th chapter in the Quran, has 99 verses. It's named after the Valley of Al-Hijr, a place mentioned in the story of the people of Thamud. This chapter talks about the stories of past nations, the importance of faith, and what happens when people don't believe. Main themes. The story of Thamud. This chapter tells the story of the people of Thamud and their prophet, Salih. The importance of faith. It stresses the importance of faith and what happens when people don't believe. Divine justice. The chapter highlights God's justice and the fate of those who reject His guidance. Number patterns. Chapter Al-Hijr is the 15th chapter. Number of verses. It has 99 verses. Importance of 15. The number 15 can be seen as a mix of 1 and 5, both of which are important in numerology. Thematic connections. Chapter Al-Hijr connects to other chapters through themes of faith, divine justice, and stories of past nations. These themes are repeated in other parts of the Quran, creating a connected story. Chapter 87 Al-Allah Overview. Chapter Al-Allah, the 87th chapter in the Quran, has 19 verses. It's named Al-Allah, the Most High, and stresses God's greatness and the importance of asking for His forgiveness. Main themes. God's greatness. The chapter highlights God's greatness and majesty. Asking for forgiveness. It stresses the importance of asking for God's forgiveness. The Day of Judgment. The chapter talks about the Day of Judgment and what happens because of one's actions. Number patterns. Chapter Al-Allah is the 87th chapter. Number of verses. It has 19 verses. Importance of 87. The number 87 can be seen as a mix of 8 and 7, both of which are important in numerology. Thematic connections. Chapter Al-Allah connects to other chapters through themes of God's greatness, forgiveness, and the Day of Recompense. These themes are repeated in other parts of the Quran, creating a connected story. Number and thematic connections. Number patterns. Sum of chapter numbers. 15 plus 87 equals 102. Product of chapter numbers. 15 times 87 equals 1305. Importance of 102 and 1305. These numbers can be looked at for their importance and number patterns. Thematic connections. Munasaba. Faith and divine justice. Both chapters talk about the importance of faith and what happens when people don't believe. Stories of prophets. Both chapters mention stories of prophets and the importance of following their guidance. Divine mercy and forgiveness. Both chapters stress God's mercy and the importance of asking for His forgiveness. Conclusion. Chapter 15, Al-Hijr, and chapter 87, Al-Allah, are connected through their number patterns and thematic content. The numbers 15 and 87, their verse counts, and their thematic focus on faith, divine justice, and forgiveness highlight the Quran's complex design and connected nature. As we keep exploring in the next chapters, we'll find more hidden harmonies and connections in the Quran. This chapter gives a detailed look at chapter 15, Al-Hijr, and chapter 87, Al-Allah, their importance and their number patterns. It sets the stage for more exploration of the Quran's hidden harmonies in the next chapters. If you have any specific ideas or extra things you'd like to include, please let me know. Okay, let's move on to chapter 4, focusing on chapter 19, Maryam, and chapter 98, Al-Bayyinah. This chapter will explore the number patterns and thematic connections between these two chapters, showing their importance in the Quran. Chapter 4, chapter 19, Maryam, and chapter 98, Al-Bayyinah. Introduction. In our journey through the Quran's hidden harmonies, we now turn to the connection between chapter 19, Maryam, and chapter 98, Al-Bayyinah. These chapters, though different in what they contain, share number and thematic patterns that highlight the Quran's coherence and unity. We'll look at their importance, number patterns, and thematic connections, munasaba. Chapter 19, Maryam, Overview. Chapter Maryam, the 19th chapter in the Quran, has 98 verses. Named after Mary, the mother of Jesus, this chapter talks about the stories of several prophets, stressing faith, patience, and God's help. Main themes. The story of Mary. This chapter starts with Mary's story, showing her purity, faith, and the miraculous birth of Jesus. The story of Zechariah and John the Baptist. The chapter also talks about Zechariah's story and the birth of his son, John the Baptist. The story of Abraham. The chapter includes Abraham's story, stressing his faith and the miraculous birth of his son. Number patterns. Chapter Maryam is the 19th chapter. Number of verses. It has 98 verses. Importance of 19. The number 19 is important in numerology, often symbolizing perfection and God's order. Chapter 98, Al-Bayyinah, Overview. Chapter Al-Bayyinah, the 98th chapter in the Quran, has 8 verses. It's named Al-Bayyinah, the clear proof, and talks about the clear proofs of God's guidance and the importance of faith. Main themes. Clear proof. The chapter highlights the clear proofs of God's guidance. Importance of faith. It stresses the importance of faith and what happens when people don't believe. The Day of Judgment. The chapter talks about the Day of Judgment and the fate of believers and non-believers. Number patterns. Chapter Al-Bayyinah is the 98th chapter. Number of verses. It has 8 verses. Importance of 98. The number 98 can be seen as a mix of 9 and 8, both of which are important in numerology. Number and thematic connections. Number patterns. Sum of chapter numbers. 19 plus 98 equals 117. Product of chapter numbers. 19 times 98 equals 1862. Importance of 117 and 1862. These numbers can be looked at for their importance and number patterns. Thematic connections, munasaba, faith and divine guidance. Both chapters talk about the importance of faith and the clear proofs of God's guidance. Miraculous births. Both chapters mention miraculous births, Jesus and John the Baptist in chapter Maryam, and the general theme of divine intervention in chapter Al-Bayyinah. Consequences of disbelief. Both chapters stress what happens when people don't believe and the importance of following God's guidance. Detailed exploration of chapter Maryam and chapter Al-Bayyinah. Chapter Maryam 19. Position. The 19th chapter in the Quran, verses, has 98 verses. Importance. Stresses faith, patience, and God's help through the stories of Mary, Zechariah, and Abraham. Number patterns. The number 19 is important, often symbolizing perfection and God's order. Chapter Al-Bayyinah 98. Position. The 98th chapter in the Quran, verses, has 8 verses. Importance. Highlights the clear proofs of God's guidance and the importance of faith. Number patterns. The number 98 is important, often symbolizing perfection and divine guidance. Conclusion. Chapter 19, Maryam, and chapter 98, Al-Bayyinah, are connected through their number patterns and thematic content. The numbers 19 and 98, their verse counts, and their thematic focus on faith, divine guidance, and what happens when people don't believe highlight the Quran's complex design and connected themes. As we keep exploring in the next chapters, we'll find more hidden harmonies and connections in the Quran. This chapter gives a detailed look at chapter 19, Maryam, and chapter 98, Al-Bayyinah, their importance and their number patterns. It sets the stage for more exploration of the Quran's hidden harmonies in the next chapters. If you have any specific ideas or extra things you'd like to include, please let me know. Okay, let's move on to chapter 5, focusing on Juz 30 of the Quran. This chapter will explore the importance of Juz 30, its number patterns, and its thematic connections in this last part of the Quran. Chapter 5, Juz 30. Introduction. Juz 30, the last part of the Quran, is a collection of the last 36 chapters from chapter 78 to chapter 114. This part is especially important in Islamic tradition, often read during the last 10 days of Ramadan. In this chapter we'll explore the number patterns and thematic connections in Juz 30, highlighting its coherence and importance in the Quran. Overview of Juz 30, chapter range. Juz 30 covers chapters from 78 to 114, a total of 36 chapters. This part is known for its short and powerful verses, often focusing on themes of faith, morals, and the Day of Judgment. Main themes: faith and righteousness, stresses the importance of faith, righteousness, and good deeds. The Day of Judgment highlights the unavoidable Day of Judgment and what happens because of one's actions. Divine mercy and forgiveness reaffirms God's mercy and the importance of asking for His forgiveness. Number patterns in Juz 30, chapter numbers and verse counts. Chapter 78, Al-Naziat, has 40 verses. Chapter 114, An-Nas, has 6 verses. Total chapters, 36 chapters. Total verses varies, but the section is known for its short and powerful verses. Number importance, sum of chapter numbers, 78 plus 114 equals 192. Product of chapter numbers, 78 times 114 equals 8,892. Importance of 192 and 8,892. These numbers can be looked at for their importance and number patterns. Thematic connections, munasaba, thematic coherence. Juz 30 is known for its connected themes, focusing on key Islamic principles like faith, morals, and the Day of Judgment. The chapters in this section are connected through their focus on these themes, creating a connected story. Key chapters and their themes. Chapter 78, Al-Naziat, talks about the Day of Judgment and what happens because of one's actions. Chapter 87, Al-Allah, stresses God's greatness and the importance of asking for His forgiveness. Chapter 98, Al-Bayina, highlights the clear proofs of God's guidance and the importance of faith. Chapter 114, An-Nas, asks for protection from human evil. Detailed exploration of Juz 30, Chapter 78, Al-Naziat, position. The 78th chapter in the Quran, verses, has 40 verses. Importance, talks about the Day of Judgment and what happens because of one's actions. Number patterns. The number 78 is important, often symbolizing perfection and God's order. Chapter 114, An-Nas, position. The 114th chapter in the Quran, verses has 6 verses. Importance, asks for protection from human evil. Number patterns. The number 114 is important, often symbolizing perfection and divine guidance. Conclusion. Juz 30, the last part of the Quran, is a deep collection of chapters that stress key Islamic beliefs like faith, morals, and the Day of Judgment. The number patterns and thematic connections in Juz 30 highlight its coherence and importance in the Quran. As we keep exploring in the next chapters, we'll find more hidden harmonies and connections in the Quran. This chapter gives a detailed look at Juz 30, its importance, and its number patterns. It sets the stage for more exploration of the Quran's hidden harmonies in the next chapters. If you have any specific ideas or extra things you'd like to include, please let me know. Okay, let's move on to chapter 6, focusing on the idea of Surah Muqatta'at. This chapter will look into the importance of these chapters, their number patterns, and the thematic connections that make them unique in the Quran. Chapter 6, Surah Muqatta'at, Introduction. The Quran has several chapters that start with a unique mix of broken letters, known as Surah Muqatta'at. These letters, though they seem random, are very important in Islamic studies. In this chapter we'll explore the idea of Surah Muqatta'at, their number patterns, and their thematic connections in the Quran. What are Surah Muqatta'at? Definition. Surah Muqatta'at are chapters that start with a specific mix of broken letters. These letters are often called Muqatta'at, broken letters, and include. Okay, let's move on to chapter 7, focusing on the bigger idea of number patterns and munasaba in the Quran. This chapter will give a full overview of the number patterns and thematic connections, munasaba, found throughout the Quran, highlighting its importance and coherence. Chapter 7, Number Patterns and Munasaba. Introduction. The Quran is a book of deep wisdom, and its structure is marked by complex number patterns and thematic connections. These patterns, known as munasaba, show the Quran's coherence and divine design. In this chapter, we'll explore the idea of number patterns and munasaba, looking at how these elements help create the Quran's overall structure and meaning. Number patterns in the Quran definition. Number patterns in the Quran refers to the careful use of numbers and their importance in the text. These patterns often involve the total number of chapters, verses, and specific number connections that highlight the Quran's structure. Key number patterns. Total number of chapters. The Quran has 114 chapters. Total number of verses. The Quran has 6,236 verses. Importance of numbers. Certain numbers like 7, 19, and 114 appear often and are especially important. Examples of number patterns. Chapter 7, Al-Araf, has 206 verses, which is a multiple of 19. Chapter 19, Maryam, has 98 verses, and the number 19 is important in numerology. Chapter 114, An-Nas, the last chapter, has 6 verses, often symbolizing completeness. Thematic connections, Munasaba, definition. Munasaba refers to the thematic and structural connections between verses and chapters in the Quran. These connections show a connected story and deeper layers of meaning. Key thematic connections, faith and divine guidance. Many chapters stress the importance of faith and seeking God's guidance. The Day of Judgment, the unavoidable Day of Judgment, is a repeated theme. Stories of prophets. The Quran often tells stories of prophets to show important moral and spiritual lessons. Examples of Munasaba, Chapter 15, Al-Hijr, and Chapter 87, Al-Ala. Both talk about the importance of faith and God's help. Chapter 19, Maryam, and Chapter 98, Al-Bayyinah. Both stress the importance of faith and what happens when people don't believe. Chapter 78, Al-Naziat, and Chapter 114, An-Nas. Both focus on protection and guidance from God. Detailed exploration of number patterns and Munasaba number patterns. Sum of chapter numbers. The sum of chapter numbers often shows important patterns. Product of chapter numbers. The product of chapter numbers can also highlight number importance. Verse counts. The number of verses in each chapter often matches important numbers. Thematic connections. Faith and righteousness. Chapters that stress the importance of faith and good deeds. Divine mercy and forgiveness. Chapters that highlight God's mercy and the importance of asking for forgiveness. The Day of Judgment. Chapters that talk about the unavoidable Day of Judgment and its consequences. Conclusion. The Quran's number patterns and thematic connections, Munasaba, show its complex design and coherence. These patterns and connections highlight the Quran's divine origin and give deeper layers of meaning for readers. As we keep exploring in the next chapters, we'll find more hidden harmonies and connections in the Quran. This chapter gives a full overview of the number patterns and thematic connections found throughout the Quran. It sets the stage for more exploration of the Quran's hidden harmonies in the next chapters. If you have any specific ideas or extra things you'd like to include, please let me know. Okay, let's move on to Chapter 8, which will look at the idea of Surah Muqatta'at in more detail. This chapter will explore the importance of these unique chapters, their number patterns, and the thematic connections that make them stand out in the Quran. Chapter 8, Surah Muqatta'at Introduction. The Quran has several chapters that start with a unique mix of broken letters, known as Surah Muqatta'at. These letters, though they seem random, are very important in Islamic studies. In this chapter, we'll explore the idea of Surah Muqatta'at, their number patterns, and their thematic connections in the Quran. What are Surah Muqatta'at? Definition: Surah Muqatta'at are chapters that start with a specific mix of broken letters. These letters are often called Muqatta'at, broken letters, and include. Okay, let's move on to Chapter 9, focusing on the idea of Munasaba in more detail. This chapter will explore the thematic connections between different chapters and verses in the Quran, highlighting how these connections help create the Quran's overall coherence and unity. Chapter 9, Munasaba in the Quran. Introduction. The Quran is not just a collection of verses, but a carefully put together text with deep thematic and structural connections. The idea of Munasaba refers to these connections, which show the Quran's coherence and unity. In this chapter, we'll explore the idea of Munasaba, looking at how themes and ideas are connected across different chapters and verses. What is Munasaba? Definition. Munasaba is an Arabic term that refers to the thematic and structural connections between verses and chapters in the Quran. These connections can be based on shared themes, similar language, or even number patterns. Munasaba helps us understand the Quran as a unified text with connected messages. Importance of Munasaba shows coherence. Munasaba shows that the Quran is a coherent text with connected themes, improves understanding. By understanding Munasaba, readers can get a deeper appreciation of the Quran's message. Highlights unity. Munasaba stresses the unity of the Quran, showing that its different parts work together to deliver a unified message. Types of thematic connections. Munasaba shared themes. Many chapters share common themes such as faith, righteousness, and the Day of Judgment. Repeated motifs. Certain motifs, like the stories of prophets, are repeated across different chapters. Structural connections. Similar language. Some chapters use similar language or phrases, creating structural connections. Parallel structures. The Quran often uses parallel structures to highlight key points. Number connections. Important numbers. Certain numbers like 7, 19, and 114 appear often and are especially important. Verse and chapter counts. The number of verses in a chapter or the chapter's position can have number importance. Examples of munasabah, chapter 1, Al-Fatiha, and chapter 114, An-Nas, shared themes. Both chapters stress seeking guidance and protection from God. Structural connections. Both chapters are short and compact, often read together in prayer. Chapter 19, Maryam, and chapter 98, Al-Bayinah, shared themes. Both chapters talk about the importance of faith and what happens when people don't believe. Number connections. The sum of their chapter numbers, 19 plus 98 equals 117, and their product, 19 times 98 equals 1,862, show important number patterns. Chapter 15, Al-Hijr, and chapter 87, Al-Allah, shared themes. Both chapters stress the importance of faith and God's help. Structural connections. Both chapters use similar language to talk about stories of past nations and the importance of truth. Detailed exploration of thematic connections, munasabah, faith and righteousness, chapters that stress the importance of faith and good deeds. Divine mercy and forgiveness, chapters that highlight God's mercy and the importance of asking for forgiveness. The Day of Judgment, chapters that talk about the unavoidable Day of Judgment and its consequences. Structural connections, parallel structures, chapters that use similar structures to deliver their messages. Repeated phrases, chapters that use similar phrases or language to highlight key points. Number connections, important numbers, chapters that share important numbers, like 7, 19, and 114. Verse and chapter counts, chapters whose verse counts or positions show number importance. Conclusion. The idea of munasabah shows the Quran's coherence and unity, showing that its different parts are connected in meaningful ways. By understanding these connections, readers can get a deeper appreciation of the Quran's message and structure. As we keep exploring in the next chapters, we'll find more hidden harmonies and connections in the Quran. This chapter gives a full overview of the idea of munasabah, highlighting the thematic, structural, and number connections in the Quran. It sets the stage for more exploration of the Quran's hidden harmonies in the next chapters. If you have any specific ideas or extra things you'd like to include, please let me know. Okay, let's move on to chapter 10, which will look deeper into the idea of number patterns and their importance in the Quran. This chapter will explore how certain numbers and their patterns are used throughout the Quran, showing deeper layers of meaning and coherence. Chapter 10, Number Patterns and Their Importance. Introduction. The Quran, as a divinely inspired text, has complex number patterns that have fascinated scholars and readers for centuries. These patterns are not just random, but are part of a careful design that shows the Quran's coherence and unity. In this chapter, we'll explore the importance of these number patterns, looking at how they help create the Quran's overall structure and meaning. The importance of numerology in the Quran definition. Numerology in the Quran refers to the study of numbers and their importance in the text. These numbers often appear in the form of verse counts, chapter numbers, and other number patterns that show deeper layers of meaning. Importance of numerology shows coherence. Number patterns show that the Quran is a coherent text with connected parts. Improves understanding. By understanding these patterns, readers can get a deeper appreciation of the Quran's message. Highlights. Unity. Numerology stresses the unity of the Quran, showing that its different parts work together to deliver a unified message. Key number patterns. The number 19 importance. The number 19 is important in numerology, often symbolizing perfection and God's order. Examples. Chapter Maryam 19 has 98 verses. The word Quran is mentioned 19 times in the Quran. The Quran says there are 19 angels guarding hell. Chapter Al-Mudaththir, verse 30. The number 7 importance. The number 7 is important in many religious traditions, symbolizing completeness and perfection. Examples. The Quran mentions there are 7 heavens and 7 earths. The word Quran is mentioned 7 times in the Quran. Chapter Al-Fatiha, the opening, has 7 verses. The number 114 importance. The number 114 is important because it represents the total number of chapters in the Quran. Examples. The Quran has 114 chapters. The last chapter, An-Nas, has 6 verses, often symbolizing completeness. Detailed exploration of number patterns. Chapter 19, Maryam, and Chapter 98, Al-Bayyinah, sum of chapter numbers. 19 plus 98 equals 117, product of chapter numbers. 19 times 98 equals 1,862, importance. The sum and product of these numbers show important number patterns. Chapter 15, Al-Hijr, and Chapter 87, Al-Ala. Sum of chapter numbers, 15 plus 87 equals 102, product of chapter numbers, 15 times 87 equals 1,305. Importance, the sum and product of these numbers show important number patterns. Chapter 78, Al-Naziat, and Chapter 114, An-Nas, sum of chapter numbers, 78 plus 114 equals 192. Product of chapter numbers, 78 times 114 equals 8,892. Importance, the sum and product of these numbers show important number patterns, thematic connections and number patterns, faith and divine guidance. Chapter 19, Maryam, stresses faith, patience, and God's help. Chapter 98, Al-Bayyinah, highlights the clear proofs of God's guidance and the importance of faith, miraculous births. Chapter 19, Maryam, talks about the miraculous birth of Jesus. Chapter 87, Al-Ala, stresses God's greatness and the importance of asking for his forgiveness. Consequences of disbelief. Chapter 19, Maryam, talks about what happens when people don't believe. Chapter 98, Al-Bayyinah, highlights what happens when people don't believe and the importance of following God's guidance. Conclusion. The Quran's number patterns show its complex design and coherence. These patterns, like the importance of numbers such as 19, 7, and 114, help create the Quran's overall structure and meaning. By understanding these patterns, readers can get a deeper appreciation of the Quran's message and structure. As we keep exploring in the next chapters, we'll find more hidden harmonies and connections in the Quran. This chapter gives a detailed look at the number patterns in the Quran, highlighting their importance and coherence. It sets the stage for more exploration of the Quran's hidden harmonies in the next chapters. If you have any specific ideas or extra things you'd like to include, please let me know. Okay, let's move on to chapter 11, which will focus on the idea of hidden harmonies and symbolism in the Quran. This chapter will explore the deeper meanings and symbolic representations in the text, showing how these elements help create the Quran's overall coherence and spiritual importance. Chapter 11, Hidden Harmonies and Symbolism. Introduction. The Quran is a text rich with symbolism and hidden harmonies that show deeper layers of meaning. These elements are not just decorations but work to improve the reader's spiritual and intellectual understanding. In this chapter we'll explore the symbolism and hidden harmonies in the Quran, looking at how they help create its overall coherence and spiritual importance. The role of symbolism in the Quran definition. Symbolism in the Quran refers to the use of symbols, metaphors, and allegories to convey deeper meanings and spiritual truths. These symbols often have many layers of interpretation, allowing readers to gain new insights with each reading. Importance of symbolism improves understanding. Symbolism allows for a deeper and more nuanced understanding of the Quran's message, helps connection. Symbols help readers connect with the text on a personal and spiritual level, shows hidden harmonies. Symbolism often shows hidden patterns and connections within the Quran. Key symbolic elements, light and darkness. Light symbolizes guidance, knowledge, and divine presence. Darkness symbolizes ignorance, misguidance, and the absence of divine presence. Water and fire. Water symbolizes life, purification, and divine mercy. Fire symbolizes punishment, purification, and divine wrath. Gardens and deserts. Gardens symbolize paradise, reward, and spiritual fulfillment. Deserts symbolize barrenness, trials, and spiritual desolation. Detailed exploration of symbolism, light and darkness. Chapter Al-Baqarah 2 talks about the examples of light and darkness to show guidance and misguidance. Chapter An-Nur 24 uses the metaphor of light to describe the clarity of faith, water and fire. Chapter Al-Kahf 18 tells the story of the people of the cave, stressing the purifying nature of water. Chapter Al-Furqan 25 describes hell as a place of fire and torment, gardens and deserts. Chapter Ar-Rahman 55 describes the gardens of paradise as a reward for the righteous. Chapter Al-Araf 7 uses the metaphor of the desert to describe the barrenness of disbelief. number patterns of hidden harmonies and symbolism. The number 19 often symbolizes perfection and divine order. The number 7 represents completeness and perfection. The number 114 represents the total number of chapters, symbolizing the Quran's completeness. Thematic connections and symbolism. Faith and truth, symbols of light, water, and gardens are often used to represent faith and truth. Disbelief and misguidance. Symbols of darkness, fire, and deserts are often used to represent disbelief and misguidance. Conclusion. The Quran's use of symbolism and hidden harmonies shows its deep spiritual and intellectual richness. These elements improve the reader's understanding and connection with the text, showing deeper layers of meaning with each reading. By exploring these symbolic elements, readers can get a deeper appreciation of the Quran's message and structure. As we keep exploring in the next chapters, we'll find more hidden harmonies and connections in the Quran. This chapter gives a detailed look at the symbolism and hidden harmonies in the Quran, highlighting their importance and coherence. It sets the stage for more exploration of the Quran's hidden harmonies in the next chapters. If you have any specific ideas or extra things you'd like to include, please let me know. Okay, let's move on to chapter 12, which will focus on the idea of divine design and coherence in the Quran. This chapter will explore how the Quran's structure, number patterns, and thematic connections reflect a careful and divine design, highlighting its coherence and unity. Chapter 12. Divine Design and Coherence in the Quran. Introduction. The Quran is not just a collection of verses but a divinely inspired text with a careful and complex design. Its structure, number patterns, and thematic connections show a coherence and unity that has fascinated scholars and readers for centuries. In this chapter, we'll explore the divine design and coherence of the Quran, looking at how its various elements work together to deliver a unified message. The concept of divine design definition. Divine design in the Quran refers to the careful and purposeful structure of the text, which includes number patterns, thematic connections, and symbolic elements. This design shows the Quran's coherence and unity, showing that its different parts are connected in meaningful ways. Importance of divine design shows coherence. Divine design shows that the Quran is a coherent text with connected parts. Improves understanding. By understanding the divine design, readers can get a deeper appreciation of the Quran's message. Highlights. Unity. Divine design stresses the unity of the Quran, showing that its different parts work together to deliver a unified message. Key elements of divine design. Number patterns. Important numbers. Numbers like 7, 19, and 114 appear often and are especially important. Verse and chapter counts. The number of verses in a chapter or the chapter's position can show number importance. Thematic connections, munasaba, shared themes. Many chapters share common themes such as faith, righteousness, and the Day of Judgment. Repeated motifs. Certain motifs, like the stories of prophets, are repeated across different chapters. Symbolic elements. Light and darkness. Symbols of light represent guidance and knowledge, while darkness represents ignorance and misguidance. Water and fire. Water symbolizes life and purification, while fire symbolizes punishment and divine wrath. Gardens and deserts. Gardens symbolize paradise and reward, while deserts symbolize barrenness and trials. Detailed exploration of divine design, number patterns. The number 19 often symbolizes perfection and divine order. Chapter Maryam 19 has 98 verses. The word Quran, mentioned 19 times in the Quran. The number 7 represents completeness and perfection. Chapter Al-Fatiha 1 has 7 verses. 7 heavens and earths, mentioned in the Quran. The number 114 represents the total number of chapters in the Quran. Chapter An-Nas 114 has 6 verses symbolizing completeness. Thematic connections. Faith and righteousness, chapters that stress the importance of faith and good deeds. Chapter Al-Baqarah 2 talks about the importance of faith and good deeds. Chapter Ali Imran 3 stresses faith and the stories of prophets. Divine mercy and forgiveness, chapters that highlight God's mercy and the importance of asking for forgiveness. Chapter Al-Araf 7 talks about God's mercy and the importance of asking for forgiveness. Chapter Al-Tarim 66 stresses the importance of asking for God's forgiveness, the Day of Judgment. Chapters that talk about the unavoidable Day of Judgment and its consequences. Chapter Al-Hajj 22 talks about the Day of Judgment and what happens because of one's actions. Chapter Al-Qiyamah 75 focuses on the Day of Judgment and the resurrection. Symbolic elements. Light and darkness. Symbols of light and darkness are used to represent guidance and misguidance. Chapter An-Nur, 24, uses the metaphor of light to describe the clarity of faith. Chapter Al-Baqarah, 2, talks about the examples of light and darkness to show guidance and misguidance. Water and fire. Symbols of water and fire are used to represent life, purification, and punishment. Chapter Al-Kahf, 18, tells the story of the people of the cave, stressing the purifying nature of water. Chapter Al-Furqan, 25, describes hell as a place of fire and torment. Gardens and deserts. Symbols of gardens and deserts are used to represent paradise, reward, and spiritual ruin. Chapter Ar-Rahman 55 describes the gardens of paradise as a reward for the righteous. Chapter Al-Araf 7 uses the metaphor of the desert to describe the barrenness of disbelief. Conclusion. The divine design and coherence of the Quran show a complex and connected structure. Number patterns, thematic connections, and symbolic elements all help create the Quran's overall unity and coherence. By understanding these elements, readers can get a deeper appreciation of the Quran's message and structure. As we keep exploring in the next chapters, we'll find more hidden harmonies and connections in the Quran. This chapter gives a detailed look at the divine design and coherence in the Quran, highlighting its importance and coherence. It sets the stage for more exploration of the Quran's hidden harmonies in the next chapters. If you have any specific ideas or extra things you'd like to include, please let me know. Okay, let's move on to chapter 13, which will focus on the role of recitation and reflection in uncovering hidden harmonies. This chapter will explore how the act of reading and thinking about the Quran can show deeper layers of meaning and coherence. Chapter 13. The role of recitation and reflection in uncovering hidden harmonies. Introduction. The Quran is not just a text to be read, but a divine message to be recited and thought about. The acts of recitation and reflection, tafakkur, are central to Islamic tradition, as they allow believers to connect with the text on a deeper level. In this chapter, we'll explore how recitation and reflection can help uncover the hidden harmonies and deeper meanings in the Quran. The importance of recitation. Definition. Recitation refers to the act of reading or chanting the Quran with correct pronunciation and tone. This practice is not only a form of worship, but also a way to gain spiritual insight and understanding. Benefits of recitation. Spiritual connection. Recitation allows believers to connect with the divine message on a personal and spiritual level. Improved understanding. Correct recitation helps in understanding the meaning and context of the Quran. Meditative practice. Recitation can be a meditative practice that brings peace and calmness to the mind and soul. The importance of reflection, tafakkur. Definition. Reflection, tafakkur, refers to the act of thinking deeply and pondering the verses of the Quran. This practice involves thinking deeply about the meanings, implications, and lessons contained within the text. Benefits of reflection. Deeper insights. Reflection allows for a deeper understanding of the Quran's message and its hidden harmonies. Personal growth. Thinking about the verses of the Quran can lead to personal and spiritual growth. Increased faith. Reflection strengthens faith by providing clarity and understanding of divine guidance. How recitation and reflection uncover hidden harmonies. Number patterns. Recitation. Proper recitation can show number patterns and rhythms in the text. Reflection. Thinking about these patterns can lead to a deeper understanding of their importance. Thematic connections. Recitation. Reading the Quran allows for the recognition of repeated themes and motifs. Reflection. Thinking about these themes can show their interconnectedness and harmony. Symbolic elements. Recitation. Recitation brings attention to the use of symbols and metaphors in the Quran. Reflection. Thinking about these symbols can show deeper meanings and spiritual importance. Practical steps for effective recitation and reflection. Set a regular time for recitation. Consistency. Setting a regular time for reading the Quran helps in keeping a consistent practice. Environment. Choose a quiet and peaceful environment to improve focus and concentration. Use correct pronunciation and intonation. Tajwid. Learning the rules of Tajwid ensures correct pronunciation and improves the recitation experience. Rhythm and pace. Pay attention to the rhythm and pace of recitation to highlight the beauty and harmony of the text. Reflect on the meaning of each verse. Translation. Use a reliable translation to understand the meaning of each verse. Commentaries. Refer to scholarly commentaries, tafsir, to gain deeper insights and interpretations. Engage in group study and discussion study groups. Joining Quranic study groups can provide valuable insights and foster a sense of community. Discussion. Engaging in discussions with others can improve understanding and show new perspectives. Conclusion. The acts of recitation and reflection are essential for uncovering the hidden harmonies and deeper meanings in the Quran. By reading the Quran with correct pronunciation and tone, and thinking about its verses with thought and understanding, believers can get a deeper appreciation of its message and coherence. As we keep exploring in the next chapters, we'll find more hidden harmonies and connections in the Quran. This chapter gives a detailed look at the role of recitation and reflection in uncovering hidden harmonies in the Quran. It sets the stage for more exploration of the Quran's deeper meanings in the next chapters. If you have any specific ideas or extra things you'd like to include, please let me know. Okay, let's move on to chapter 14, which will focus on the importance of the Quran's structure and its impact on understanding. This chapter will explore how the Quran's unique structure, including the order of its chapters and verses, helps create a deeper understanding of its message and coherence. Chapter 14, the importance of the Quran's structure and its impact on understanding. Introduction. The Quran is a divinely inspired text with a unique structure that has been carefully put together to deliver its message effectively. Understanding the Quran's structure is key to a deeper appreciation of its coherence and unity. In this chapter, we'll explore the importance of the Quran's structure and how it affects our understanding of its message. The unique structure of the Quran: order of chapters, chronological versus thematic order. The Quran is not arranged in chronological order but in a thematic and structural order that improves its coherence. Importance of chapter order. The placement of each chapter in the Quran is careful and helps create the overall message and coherence of the text. Order of verses within chapters. Each chapter has verses that are arranged to convey specific themes and messages. Importance of verse order. The order of verses within a chapter is also careful, often building on previous verses to create a connected story. Impact of structure on understanding coherence and unity. Thematic coherence. The Quran's structure ensures that related themes and messages are grouped together, making it easier to understand the overall message. Structural unity. The arrangement of chapters and verses creates a unified text that works together to deliver a comprehensive message. Facilitating comprehension. Progressive revelation. The Quran was revealed gradually over 23 years, and its structure reflects this gradual revelation. Understanding the structure helps in appreciating the context and development of its message. Ease of memorization. The Quran's structure, with its repeated themes and patterns, makes memorization and recitation easier, making it easier for believers to engage with the text. Detailed exploration of the Quran's structure. The opening, al-Fatiha position. The first chapter in the Quran. Importance, known as al-Kitab, mother of the book. Al-Fatiha summarizes the Quran's core themes and serves as a comprehensive prayer. Structure, has 7 verses symbolizing completeness and perfection. Key chapters. Chapter Al-Baqarah, 2. The longest chapter has 286 verses, covering a wide range of themes including beliefs, laws, and morals. Chapter Ali Imran, 3, has 200 verses stressing faith, stories of prophets, and the importance of righteousness. Chapter Al-Araf, 7, has 206 verses talking about the Day of Judgment, stories of past nations, and the importance of faith. Shorter chapters. Chapter Al-Ikhlas, 112, has 4 verses stressing the oneness of God. Chapter Al-Falaq, 113, has 5 verses asking for protection from evil. Chapter An-Nas, 114, has 6 verses asking for protection from human evil. The role of structure in facilitating understanding. Thematic grouping, related themes. Chapters and verses are often grouped according to related themes, making it easier to understand the Quran's message. Progressive development. This structure allows for the progressive development of themes, building on previous verses and chapters to create a comprehensive understanding. Number patterns. Important numbers. The Quran's structure often involves important numbers such as 7, 19, and 114, which help create its coherence and unity. Verse and chapter counts. The number of verses in a chapter or the chapter's position can show importance and number patterns. Practical steps to understanding the Quran's structure. Study the order of chapters. Chronological verses. Thematic order. Understanding the difference between the chronological order of revelation and the Quran's thematic order can improve understanding. Importance of chapter placement. Think about the placement of each chapter and how it helps create the overall message. Reflect on the order of verses. Thematic flow. Pay attention to the thematic flow within each chapter and how verses build on each other. Contextual understanding. Understanding the context in which verses were revealed can provide a deeper understanding of their meaning. Utilize scholarly resources, tafsir, commentaries. Refer to scholarly commentaries to gain a deeper understanding of the Quran's structure and meaning. Study groups. Engage in study groups and discussions to explore different perspectives and interpretations. Conclusion. The Quran's unique structure, including the order of its chapters and verses, plays a crucial role in helping a deeper understanding of its message. By appreciating the Quran's careful arrangement and coherence, readers can get a deeper appreciation of its unity and completeness. As we keep exploring in the next chapters, we'll find more hidden harmonies and connections in the Quran. This chapter gives a detailed look at the importance of the Quran's structure and how it affects understanding. It sets the stage for more exploration of the Quran's hidden harmonies in the next chapters. If you have any specific ideas or extra things you'd like to include, please let me know. Okay, let's move on to chapter 15, which will focus on the Quran's influence on Islamic thought and culture. This chapter will explore how the Quran has shaped Islamic theology, ethics, and cultural practices, and how its teachings have been interpreted and applied over the centuries. Chapter 15. The Quran's influence on Islamic thought and culture. Introduction. The Quran, as the primary religious text of Islam, has deeply influenced Islamic thought, ethics, and cultural practices. Its teachings have shaped the beliefs, values, and behaviors of Muslims around the world. In this chapter, we'll explore the Quran's influence on Islamic theology, ethics, and culture, looking at how its teachings have been interpreted and applied over the centuries. The Quran and Islamic theology. The concept of Tawhid, oneness of God. Definition. Tawhid is the basic belief in the oneness of God, which is central to Islamic theology. Quranic basis. The Quran repeatedly stresses the oneness of God, rejecting polytheism and idol worship. Impact. Tawhid has shaped Islamic monotheism and influenced theological debates and interpretations. The concept of prophethood, nubuwah. Definition. Nubuwah refers to the belief in prophets and their role in delivering God's message. Quranic basis. The Quran mentions many prophets including Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad. Impact. The concept of prophethood has influenced Islamic understanding of revelation, guidance, and the continuity of the divine message. The concept of the afterlife, akira. Definition. Akira refers to the belief in the day of judgment, the resurrection, and the afterlife. Quranic basis. The Quran often talks about the unavoidable day of judgment and what happens because of one's actions. Impact. The concept of the afterlife has shaped Islamic ethics, encouraging believers to live righteous lives. The Quran and Islamic ethics. The importance of faith and righteousness. Quranic emphasis. The Quran stresses the importance of faith, iman, and good deeds, amal salih. Ethical principles. Key ethical principles include honesty, justice, compassion, and social responsibility. Impact. These principles have shaped Islamic ethics and moral values, influencing personal and social behavior. The role of worship, ibadah. Definition. Ibadah refers to acts of worship including prayer, fasting, charity, and pilgrimage. Quranic basis. The Quran prescribes various acts of worship as a way to get closer to God. Impact. Acts of worship have been central to Muslim life, fostering spiritual growth and community unity. The concept of social justice, Quranic emphasis. The Quran stresses social justice, equality, and the protection of the vulnerable. Ethical implications. This includes principles of fair treatment, poverty reduction, and promoting social harmony. Impact. The concept of social justice has influenced Islamic social and legal systems, promoting fairness and equality. The Quran and Islamic culture, the role of the Quran in education. Historical context. The Quran has been central to Islamic education since the early days of Islam. Modern education. Quranic teachings continue to influence educational systems in Muslim-majority countries and communities. Impact. The Quran's emphasis on knowledge and learning has fostered a tradition of scholarship and intellectual pursuit. Influence on literature and art. Quranic recitation. The art of Quranic recitation has developed into a sophisticated form of vocal performance. Islamic calligraphy. The Quran's text has inspired the development of Islamic calligraphy, which is considered one of the highest forms of Islamic art. Impact. These artistic expressions have enriched Islamic cultural heritage and promoted the Quran's teachings. The role of the Quran in daily life, family, and society. Quranic teachings influence family structures, social norms, and community practices. Ethical conduct. The Quran provides guidance on ethical conduct in various aspects of life, including business, politics, and personal relationships. Impact. The Quran's influence extends to all aspects of daily life, shaping the values and behaviors of Muslims. Conclusion. The Quran's influence on Islamic thought, ethics, and culture is deep and varied. Its teachings have shaped Islamic theology, ethics, and cultural practices, influencing the beliefs, values, and behaviors of Muslims around the world. By understanding the Quran's impact on these areas, we can get a deeper appreciation of its role in shaping Islamic civilization. As we keep exploring in the next chapters, we'll find more hidden harmonies and connections in the Quran. This chapter gives a detailed look at the Quran's influence on Islamic thought, ethics, and culture, highlighting its importance and coherence. It sets the stage for more exploration of the Quran's hidden harmonies in the next chapters. If you have any specific ideas or extra things you'd like to include, please let me know. Okay, let's create a summary and conclusion chapter for your book, which will cover the key points and insights from the previous chapters. This chapter will give a full overview of the hidden harmonies and number patterns in the Quran, stressing their importance and coherence. Chapter 16. Summary and Conclusion. Introduction. Throughout this book, we've gone on a journey to explore the hidden harmonies and number patterns in the Quran. From the importance of the 7 Mathani to the complex structure of Juz 30, and from the thematic connections of Surah Muqatta'at to the divine design of the Quran, we've found layers of meaning that show the Quran's coherence and unity. In this final chapter, we'll summarize the key insights and think about their wider implications. Summary of key insights. The 7 Mathani importance. The 7 Mathani, or 7 often recited chapters, hold special importance in Islamic worship. Number patterns. The number 7 is important, often symbolizing completeness and perfection. Thematic coherence. These chapters cover core themes of faith, guidance, and protection. Chapter Maryam and Chapter Al-Bayyinah. Number patterns. The sum and product of their chapter numbers, 19 plus 98 equals 117, 19 times 98 equals 1862, show important number patterns. Thematic connections. Both chapters stress faith, divine guidance, and what happens when people don't believe. Chapter Al-Hijr and Chapter Al-Ala. Number patterns. The sum and product of their chapter numbers, 15 plus 87 equals 102, 15 times 87 equals 1305, show important number patterns. Thematic connections. Both chapters talk about faith, divine intervention, and stories of past nations. Juz 30. Importance. Juz 30, the last part of the Quran, is often read during the last 10 days of Ramadan. Number patterns. The sum and product of the chapter numbers in Juz 30 show important number patterns. Thematic coherence. Juz 30 stresses faith, morals, and the Day of Judgment. Surah Muqatta'at. Importance. Surah Muqatta'at, with their unique mix of broken letters, are very important in Islamic studies. Number patterns. The chapter numbers and verse counts of these chapters show important number patterns. Thematic connections. These chapters often share themes of faith, divine guidance, and what happens when people don't believe. Divine design and coherence. Number patterns. The Quran has important numbers such as 7, 19, and 114, which help create its coherence and unity. Thematic connections. The Quran's structure ensures that related themes and messages are grouped together, improving understanding. Symbolic elements. The use of symbols such as light, water, and gardens enriches the spiritual and intellectual depth of the text. The role of recitation and reflection. Recitation. Proper recitation improves spiritual connection and understanding. Reflection. Tafakkur. Thinking about the verses of the Quran shows deeper insights and personal growth. Practical steps. Setting a regular time for recitation, using correct pronunciation, and engaging in group study can improve the recitation and reflection experience. Influence on Islamic thought and culture. Islamic theology. The Quran's teachings have shaped Islamic beliefs, including the concepts of Tawheed, Nubuwah, and Akira. Islamic ethics. The Quran's emphasis on faith, righteousness, and social justice has influenced Islamic moral values and ethical conduct. Islamic culture. The Quran's influence extends to education, literature, art, and daily life, enriching Islamic cultural heritage. Conclusion. The Quran's hidden harmonies and number patterns show its complex design and coherence. These patterns, thematic connections, and symbolic elements help create a deeper understanding of the Quran's message and unity. By exploring these elements, readers can get a deep appreciation of the Quran's spiritual and intellectual depth. The acts of recitation and reflection, along with an understanding of the Quran's structure and influence, allow believers to connect with the divine message on a personal and transformative level. As we end this journey, we are reminded of the Quran's timeless wisdom and its lasting impact on Islamic thought and culture. May this exploration inspire continued study and reflection, leading to a deeper connection with the Quran's divine message. This final chapter provides a full summary of the key insights and themes explored throughout the book. It stresses the importance of the Quran's hidden harmonies and encourages readers to continue their exploration and reflection. If you have any specific ideas or extra things you'd like to include, please let me know.